Hello, 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 and hello again, everyone. You are welcome to this channel where we talk about life, we talk about career, we talk about anything in between, just to bring awareness to us. And guess what? This month, this year, we have the mental health week this year and this week actually, and it's all about loneliness. So creating the awareness for mental health. The theme all around the world internationally is loneliness, and I've got a very well informed speaker, a speaker who is going to be telling us about mental health. We have questions. We might know people who need to listen to this. This is a time to share this video with them so we can all learn together. So, but before I bring up my guest, I would like to share a short clip with you, and that is on mental health for this year. So this year's theme, like we all know, or maybe you don't, but this year's theme is loneliness. What is loneliness? Why do we have to talk about loneliness? Especially knowing that we've just come out of COVID, and that was a very pretty, not too pretty thing to be in. So I will share this video with us and let's learn together. Let's just see what it is for 2022.
Any one of us can feel lonely, anytime, anywhere. We can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Some of us are more at risk than others, but research has shown that millions of us feel lonely some or all of the time. And long-term loneliness can make us feel anxious or depressed and have a serious effect on our mental health. Yet while millions of us experience feelings of loneliness, we can still find it hard to talk about. 1 in 5 of us hide our feelings of loneliness from others. It can be hard, but there are things we can do for ourselves and for others. Acknowledging we've all been there is a start. And by coming together, we can tackle loneliness. We can also help influence policy, support each other, and help prevent mental health problems. This Mental Health Awareness Week, we want to let everyone living with loneliness know that their mental health matters. And together, we can make change happen.
Okay, so that is about mental illness for this year. And I have with me a very well-informed guest. I'll share his profile with us first so we know what he does, so that when he's talking to us, we will know that, whoa, this person is actually well loaded. So this is his page, and he talks about, is a mental health advocate. He's an initiator of so many businesses that help deal with mental health, like massage, beauty therapy, name it. He's going to tell us more about it. So this is a well-loaded person who will be talking to us today. So please get your ears open and let us invite to the screen Mr. Can you give it rolling now? Mr. Come on, Mr. Sheun Dosumu, and here he is on the screen. You are welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, all over the world, anyone watching. I greet you. I thank you for offering this huge platform to discuss vital issues, especially when it comes to loneliness. I think it's a very important topic that we should talk about, because many people don't like to associate or admit that, I feel lonely, or I felt lonely at some point. So I think it's an important topic. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, could you introduce yourself properly? Because I know I've just hit the tip of the iceberg for you about who you are and what you do. So, please, the stage is yours.
Okay. Again, my name is Seun Dosumu, and I am a mental health advocate. I run a foundation named Across All Initiative for mental health and stigma eradication. I have the privilege to drive several mental health awareness campaigns, including care and support for mental health. I also have led, Save a Life, which is a suicide prevention campaign that we started last year. And I'm a host, for many dialogues, and one of it is the care conversations. I also convene, an annual event tagged Work and Emotional Balance Conference, which we use to um, drive conversations on mental health, and then most importantly, engage key stakeholders when it comes to putting together policies for mental health.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot for one person. Well done. So, I'm sure we're in safe hands. Thank you very much. Now, could you tell us what exactly is loneliness? How does it affect us? What, why, how loneliness? Thank you.
Okay, so loneliness, like it's been said, it could stem from a sad feeling, or just you feeling isolated from a crowd or even a multitude. Um, Oftentimes, we as adults, we've had experiences, or we have ongoing issues that we deal with, and if we don't find solace or find a support system to help us, find solutions to some of our issues, we tend to take a few steps back, withdraw from the everyday life, go to work, have discussions with friends, hang out, and it kind of affects how we feel and think. So we decide to say, what, let me take my time, let me take time off, let me just sleep all day, be in the room all day, and that's really what it's about. Unfortunately, I believe the more we talk about it, we would expand, the causes, or, the triggers for loneliness, and how we can um, address it in the long run. But basically, it's just more like a feeling of being isolated from everyone.
Yeah, thank you. From the video from the clip we just watched, it says you could actually be lonely in a crowd. How does
Exactly.
what does that mean? You have people around you, but you're still lonely. I thought loneliness is when you're like on an island or just alone on your own, living alone. Do you want to throw more light? What exactly is loneliness to us in our world today? Can
So,
children be lonely?
so
Can adults be lonely? Is it just for the adults? Is it for the children? What to you?
this is inclusive of every gender,
Hmm.
every age group. Anyone can, feel lonely. And when I hear, oh, I'm lonely in the midst of a multitude, it just tells me that we're not on the same wavelength at the time you're feeling that way. Because sometimes you are amongst, friends, and what they're talking about, their drive, is not what excites you at the moment. For some people, it could just be, the loss of a close relative, and then, all of the discussions around you just don't sound right any longer because of what you're feeling at the moment. So it's very possible, to feel lonely even when you have a crowd. And I believe it's when you're not on the same wavelength that you kind of, feel that way. But if you have a support system where you're all talking about similar things, or individuals who express a level of comprehension, when it comes to how you feel or what you're experiencing at the moment, then there's a high chance that you will not feel lonely. But many times, it's always as a result of finding yourself in a network of individuals who don't have a grasp of what you're feeling, or they are totally experiencing something different. And then you're like, it seems like I'm just here. I can't really connect with anyone here. Or maybe you say, let's go for a drink. And you're like, at this point, I'm tired. I don't feel excited about anything. But these guys are saying, let's go for a drink. It's a total, there's a clear difference from what they want and what you want.
Yeah.
So, cases like that, make people feel lonely.
Okay, there's something I was looking at. It says one thing that somebody's experience. It says one thing I've learned is the difference between feeling alone and feeling lonely, and how you can feel lonely in a crowd full of people, but quite peaceful and content when alone. So, what's the difference between feeling alone and feeling lonely?
So I would say feeling alone could, that could arise by, you being the only person in a class, for instance, a classroom where you usually have like 3, 5 of your friends around, and then one morning, 4 of them or 5 of them are not in class. This time around, you may have to compel yourself to initiate conversations with people, with other classmates who aren't your friends, so to say. So in that case, you can feel alone. I do believe that you can feel alone that way. But again, feeling lonely could 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 be slightly different, especially when it comes to dealing with issues. For instance, a mental health challenge, just ending a relationship, like they say in Nigeria, you have been served breakfast. So, and being served breakfast here is, ending a relationship some way in an unpleasant way. So, imagine you in 6 months ago, you were in a relationship and all of your friends were envious of your relationship because of how you talk about it every day on your social media pages, how you talk about it, even when you are seated. But 6 months down the line, you are single and not in a relationship. So it means you don't have anyone to confide in, you don't have anyone to share your special moments with, and you're nursing a breakup that you probably didn't want to happen, even in your wildest dream. So you can feel lonely after enjoying such a romantic and pleasant relationship. And for some people it's about, like I said, loss of a relative, or you lose a job, or you are transferred from one place, one state to another state, or even you relocating from a country that you have, or a state that you have been so used to,
Yeah.
then moving to another state. So this is the literal meaning of feeling lonely. And I think as adults, even as children, they realize that at some point they have to move from being a baby, being coddled all the time, being kicked out to even when they cry. Now, at some stage in their life, they realize that you have to man up, you have to step up, or you're sent to a boarding house, to go have a brand new experience. So these experiences can make you feel lonely.
Wow.
So I think that's like the difference between feeling alone and being lonely.
Yeah, thank you. There's another place that says what causes loneliness. I know you've mentioned it, experiencing bereavement, going through a relationship breakup, retiring, or losing the social contract you had at work, changing jobs, feeling isolated from your co-workers, starting at university, moving to a new area or country without family, friends, or community. Those are causes of loneliness. Is there any one of them you think you want to pinpoint, you want to stress, you want to emphasize on? Those points I've just mentioned that you think many
I
people
would
face.
say for me, the some of the causes, or let me just say, stigmatizing people, is one trigger, is one reason why many people feel lonely, or many people battle with loneliness, and that's because it is also, this is subjective, especially when you consider the environment that you're in at the moment. Some people are so lucky to find themselves around well cultured individuals who respect, your time, who value your relationship, who appreciate those little efforts. But some people don't even enjoy, half of this. You realize that you are always constantly being ridiculed for not, performing at a certain level. You have to battle with, somebody talking down on you. Oh, you put in after putting in your best. Somebody says, you are a failure, you are lazy. And when you constantly hear this from people that you assume are your friends, or are your, fans, or your well wishers, you tend to want to take a few steps back and not spend spend quality time with such individuals. And this can, really trigger, thoughts of feeling alone, and, actually battling loneliness. Because if you have to wake up every day to go to a place of work where your colleagues are, very insensitive, they are not empathetic, then it means that every day of your life, if you work 7 days a week, it means 7 days a week you are going to have to manage, toxic colleagues. So it means every chance you get to stay away from them, then you want to embrace that. And for me, I think it's more scary, because when you begin to stay away from these individuals and spend a lot of time alone, then there's a high chance that you could indulge in practices that are even more toxic for your health, for your physical health, or even your mental health, such as, drug abuse, such as, maybe masturbation. You get addicted to some sort of habits that are not good for you.
Sure. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much for throwing more light on that. There's a question somewhere that says, how does loneliness affect mental health? I know you've mentioned a bit of it. You've mentioned some of it, how it affects us. People get withdrawn, and it's a stigma to have that. So there's this statement that says, this vicious cycle can be difficult to break without the right support. But as the report also explains, opening up about loneliness can be hard. So it's like you want to open up, but then opening up causes a stigma. And if you don't open up, it's like a vicious cycle. So the personal nature of loneliness and stigma attached to it means people often suffer in silence and deny their experiences. Have you ever had such experience with other people saying that before? And how did you help them out of it?
So this requires loneliness, or it varies depending on the individual. But I think when you have a deep understanding of how to interact, how to drive meaningful conversations with people, it kind of puts you in a position of an helper. So there are people who carry happy faces all around, but some people can discern that this individual is not having it all good. So for me, because I offer, some level of talk therapy and then also offer massage therapy. So I've had the chance to really speak to clients,
Mm.
and then there are many times they confide in me, seeing that I have an understanding of what they are feeling. I have, not the regular thought pattern of how to respond to issues.
Yeah.
So it puts them in a better position to admit and open up to me that, this is how I feel, this is how I think about this. It's been really very hard on me. Sometimes I don't feel like talking to people.
Mm.
Sometimes I just feel withdrawn. And then you understand that these are individuals who are really battling, loneliness. And interestingly, some of them are in relationships, but it's either their spouse, isn't offering the kind of support they need at the time, and
Mm.
then it makes them, end up withdrawing.
Mm.
So in my line of work, and because I also talk to, I've met a couple of individuals who are battling mental health illness as well, ranging from bipolar disorder, ranging from postpartum depression. I, I, I speak to them and I realize that one, because there's a knowledge gap on understanding what they are experiencing. You don't have a clear understanding of what bipolar disorder is. So oftentimes you are either going to ridicule their illness
Mm.
or trivialize their experiences,
Mm.
and by so doing, it makes it difficult for them to engage and interact with the people around.
Sure.
Hence, this gives them, more reasons more reasons to spend time alone,
Mm.
more reasons to dissociate from, a community and just spend time alone. So these are some of the reasons why people, choose to not choose, but end up battling loneliness
Mm.
because they have an illness they are battling with, and then people around them, even family members that should, be support systems, don't even have, a a clear comprehension of their illness.
Mm.
So it makes it really difficult to interact. And then you go to offices, it's the same thing. People ridicule you for your size, you're obese, they're talking down on you, cracking jokes around your size,
Mm.
or you fail at an exam, people are cracking jokes, making mockery of your situation. And all of this kind of puts individuals in a very tight situation, and they are left with little or no option that just lock themselves up in a room and not talk to anybody.
Okay, thank you very much. I was about asking what are the signs of mental illness, but before you answer that, we will just go and watch a video very
Mm.
quickly talking about um, mental illness. So please stay tuned. While we are watching the clip, please, viewers, share the video because many people need to be aware of this. Loneliness it could lead to some things that I'm sure Mr. Shondos will be talking about later. It could lead to different things that you cannot even imagine. So we're going to be talking about it, but before then, please share this video, invite people, let them join in, ask questions. We need questions. Is there any question you have in your mind you've been ruminating about for long about loneliness, mental health? Please share the questions. This is the part one. Part two will be next week. But in this part one, we want to utilize the time by laying the foundation for mental health awareness. So let's watch this clip on mental health. 1 minute. And please share the video. Make sure you're sharing because sharing is caring. So let's do ourselves and our neighbors a favor. Okay, here we go.
can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that, just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life. Just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. You should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too, but it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really
Okay, so we'll pause there. We'll continue later. So I'll bring on the screen again my guest for today. So we have just been talking, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about mental health and how it affects every one of us. We all have mental health, but how do we deal with it? How do we deal with it so that it doesn't tip over to the other side? So yeah, thank you very much for staying tuned. So what are the signs that a person is suffering from mental illness due to loneliness?
Again, there's no one way to this, but then the symptoms vary again depending on the individual involved. But there's a research that links loneliness to depression, links loneliness to raising anxiety levels. In fact, sometimes it also says that you can begin to display some antisocial behavior, especially when you're lonely. So these are some of the signs. You can either begin to withdraw from social gatherings. You can either become addicted to some kind of activity, which could include alcohol abuse. It could include drug abuse. It could also include other forms of maybe gambling or even over exercising. Some people use all of that as coping mechanisms. And when you see individuals who begin to embrace these activities, then it's safe to say, or just assume that this individual is not having a great mental health. So if it's possible to offer talk therapy, at least for intervention purpose, then one should try that. And but if it seems like it's out of hand, then you just might offer or bring in a professional, like a psychologist or a psychotherapist, or even a counselor, professional counselor.
Oh, okay. You've just talked about my next question. How do we support? Because we need to be our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper. We can see some people are suffering, like we said earlier, that some people actually suffer in silence and deny their experiences. Recognizing the signs, symptoms like withdrawal, withdrawal, withdrawal. I can't spell that word. Okay, addiction to substances and other things to cope with like coping mechanisms. So those are the signs. Now, how do we support them? You've talked about therapy. So would you like to tell us how you have supported people, because I know you are a therapist yourself, massager, a body. What was that again? Exercise body, is it? Yes. So I'd like you to talk about what you do and how this has improved the health of other people. And bearing in mind that some of us are not exercise bodies, what can we do in our own little way to also contribute to add value to the society by helping mental health patients?
Okay, I think this is a question everyone should listen to at this time, and then because we're going to profile solutions. I think I am also working to be a better friend, to be a better individual, and because I feel we have so much work at hand to deal with. So for me, like I said, I had to do a course on becoming a psychotherapist just to have a grasp of how we can, offer interventions for myself, maybe when I'm in need of it, or someone around me. I think this knowledge has helped me, help other people, open up on issues that are really disturbing to them, that has been on their minds for a long time, that in fact has kept them away from having friends and spending time with friends. So I feel, talk therapy, basic talk therapy can go a long way. That's if we all, acquire the knowledge, which is very important. According to Mental Health Foundation, it is also, advised that if we can begin to create support groups, if an individual can start a group. And for us, this is one area we're also hoping to, key in the near future. We are starting like a care club where we have, a crop of group of professionals from diverse industry who are battling, loneliness. We just come together, drive conversations, um, seek ways to help each other, live a more meaningful life. And I think, support systems are very essential in battling loneliness. And more importantly, I think people should, it's also advised that people should look out for activities that engage their mind. Now, for some people, it's about reading a new book. For some, it's about watching, movies. For some, it's about, having an experience of a new travel destination. So some of these things help you, stay alert and then help you manage your emotions. So I feel if people engage their minds, positively, then they can become, happier and then battle loneliness in the right way. It's also said that if people can begin to engage in physical activities, and that's where exercise comes in. You don't have to run 10 kilometers, but trust me, sometimes when you do less than 1 kilometer walk or even run 2 kilometers with your music list, with your playlist on, it just might, flip things for you in the right way. Those negative thoughts that keep you, feeling sad and makes you feel lonely would be out of your head, at least for temporarily, when out there too. So I feel engaging in physical activities is also very essential. And yeah, considering this support system, physical activities, engaging the mind, learning new things can be very essential, especially when it comes to um, battling loneliness.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Like I said, there will be a part 2 next week where we'll be asking the professionals themselves who deal with patients and who have clinics and will want to tell us about how to help people further. So thank you very much, Mr. Dosumu, for this time. It's a very precious time. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I will share your. Let me share your your Facebook page so that people can go to interact with you even after this session, for therapy, for body
Uh,
massage, yeah, and all of that. And these are things that we need, like you rightly mentioned, basic therapy knowledge, creating a support group. These are all the things you're doing just to help people you know get their mental health
I'm also on
balanced.
Instagram for anyone who wants to
Okay.
follow on
And
Instagram.
on Instagram, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
what
it's
are your handles? IG is
OSEUNDOSUNNU. That is
okay. That's yeah.
OSUEUNDOSUNNMU.
And
That's for
FB is
Instagram.
okay. And FB is I think it was, yeah, just your name, isn't it? Okay. So share it there. So that's the IG handle and that's the FB handle. And you can, if you need any of these things, if you're outside the country, you're based in what country?
Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay, so when you visit Nigeria, everyone you're listening, you know where to go with all the stress of the vehicles, the traffic, the sun, everything. You know where to go to get pampered and get yourself back to normal. So thank you very much once again for this time you spent with us. We really appreciate it. If we get any questions, I'm sure by next week we will treat them if you'll be available to join by then or not, whatever it is. But thank you very much for a short notice and you still were able to make it. I really appreciate your time. Are there any last words for our viewers out there?
I believe a high number of persons are battling loneliness. I know it's tough. I know it's challenging, especially when you're putting in your best and then you are underappreciated. I know it's hard financially. You're not doing as much as you want to, but I want to encourage you to identify someone who you can talk to, at least that you're confident to share things with. Because if you bottle up all of these thoughts, it might really be overwhelming and it might, lead to other things that we don't want to. So I encourage you to go out there, speak to someone, share stuff. Don't battle loneliness all alone. It's tough, but I want to tell you there is hope. There's a bright future out there. And we love you with the therapists, with the advocates. We love you. We understand that, feeling lonely is human. But more importantly, speaking about it is more human.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And there you go. You've heard it all. It is human. It is normal to have, you know, every human being has mental health. We all deal with it in different ways. And some people have a high threshold to deal with such stress. So let's be our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper. Thank you very much Mr. Dosumu, for what you've done today. You've actually enlightened us and given us more information. I wish you well in your endeavors, and thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. So we will carry on with the little clip we were watching. And that's more like saying thank you very much for being here, for attending to this live stream. We have another one next week where the professionals themselves will be coming to tell us more about it. So watch this video. I'll be putting on the screen. Watch this video to continue with what we were watching before we stopped the broadcast. So while you're here, just keep watching and let's.
Really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to. So I asked our head of year for some advice. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when you're feeling low, so our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there, but now I'm beginning to understand my mental health. I'm learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea the people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Yes, exactly. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. It's something we all have. So let's be our brother's keeper. Let's engage with people. Some people might be quiet. We've heard what the symptoms are. I mean, what the signs, not symptoms, what the signs are, and we can be there for other people. So let's make it a point of duty to be there for other people. And I will end on the note of the video we have watched before. I'll do it again, and that is to say farewell, and please keep your mental health in proper shape. Let's be a support group to someone. Let's learn basic therapies and let us be there for other people. Even as we are there for ourselves, let's love ourselves enough to take that break, to take the holiday we need, we so much deserve, and balance our lives. Thank you.
Any one of us can feel lonely, anytime, anywhere. We can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Some of us are more at risk than others, but research has shown that millions of us feel lonely some or all of the time. And long-term loneliness can make us feel anxious or depressed and have a serious effect on our mental health. Yet while millions of us experience feelings of loneliness, we can still find it hard to talk about. 1 in 5 of us hide our feelings of loneliness from others. It can be hard, but there are things we can do for ourselves and for others. Acknowledging we've all been there is a start. And by coming together, we can tackle loneliness. We can also help influence policy, support each other, and help prevent mental health problems. This Mental Health Awareness Week, we want to let everyone living with loneliness know that their mental health matters. And together, we can make change happen.
Thank you. Together, we can make change happen. So have a good day, have a good week, and bye-bye. See you next week for the same topic.